Hey there, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back. I'm your host, PattSun, and today we're gonna be taking a look at r/cheating stories, where OP dodged a golden bullet. Let's begin. I think my mom is cheating on my dad, and I just don't know if I can hold it anymore. Posted by Reddit user Just There to Ask.
I think my mom is cheating on my dad and I just don't know if I can hold it anymore. My mother is a very kind and hard-working mother. She even written a 1,000-page future company plans when she was pregnant with my first sister. And she always come late but cook for us before she even change her clothes sometimes. She never treated me wrong and always look after me whenever I'm feeling depressed and anxious about something. I love her more than anyone in this world, but something's been bugging me these days. I think she is cheating and I got many evidence to back it up. 3 years ago I was showing my mother something using her phone and a message of a man appeared. My mother quickly took the phone away from me and removed it. I was naive back then, so I didn't think much of it until my mother got a new phone and switched her data to that phone. But she didn't download the lock app yet. She uses a lock app to prevent us from entering any messaging app she has on her phone. So I was able to enter WhatsApp and was horrified to see my mother sending flirty messages to the same guy I just talked about. I was just 12 at the time and didn't know what to do, so I kept it a secret and I started going deeper into this matter. After a couple of days she sent the guy a message telling him to not call her in specific hour because her husband and kids were around. This should have been enough, but I just couldn't accept that. The second thing is I found on the Messenger app that she has another account, and when I was able to access it, I saw many disgusting messages from more than 10, maybe 15 men talking about how they want to touch her boobs and many other parts of her body. And in Viber I found her messaging another guy talking about how my mother was beside him in a trip and how she was putting her hand in his thighs. But I confronted her about the Messenger after an incident where I was a bit gloomy after my L had an argument with my dad. And the last thing he said in that argument is that I don't deserve having a mother, and said that I would just sacrifice her for my own good. For context, I forget a lot, and I mean a lot, and that has been a big problem for me. I always get scolded by my parents on a daily basis because of it. I just don't know how to fix it. I always tell them that I just forget, and they tell me you can't just forget. You don't have any family or problem to take care of, so I have no excuse to forget. My mother saw me in that state after the argument and broke down, and I told her everything that we said. And when I finished, she saw that I was still bothered and asked for the reason, and I took the initiative and asked her about the messages. And she told me it was a long story and the account was the account of her friend and all the messages are from perverts. After that I hugged her and wanted to believe her, but I was just still doubtful. Until when my mother came back from another work trip, I wanted to use her phone. So I start searching for it in her bag, but found in her bag some things that resembles condoms. Although I'm still doubtful for some reason. It was a tiny piece of plastic in a shape of a square. I still don't know if it is something that resembles condoms or if it's condoms, but my heart just wouldn't let me believe it. I forgot about this matter until I watched a video of a guy reading some cheating incidents from Reddit. And after that everything just clicked. So these days I'm always thinking about this matter and it's slowly breaking me. So I downloaded Reddit for some advice from people that I don't know what should I do.
OP, I don't know exactly what your family situation is, and I can also tell that you're on the younger side. But you need to listen to me. Your father needs to know. He deserves a choice about his future based on the promises your mother made to him. You'll understand someday when you're a little bit older, but you need to tell him now and let him deal with it. It's not fair that you have to bear the secrecy of your mother's infidelity. And now for today's second story. Yep, she was probably cheating. Posted by Reddit user ThrowRA6979696414.
Stonewalling is absolutely one of my biggest triggers. When there was a disagreement in my house, my dad would hardcore stonewall, to the point where sometimes he would literally just up and leave for days and no one could find him. I am generally a calm person, but if you want to bring the crazy out, then stonewall me. I had told all this to my former partner, that the one thing I couldn't handle was stonewalling, and to absolutely never do it unless she wants to see me turn into a demon. Taking space is fine, that is different, but do not ever stonewall me. A few months ago, I was working overtime a lot because my company was going through layoffs and I didn't want to lose my job. As a result, I was often absent, exhausted, or not very present. My partner at the time was not happy with this, which is understandable, but at one point she said to me, "I could be cheating on you and you wouldn't even know." This took me aback, obviously, so I asked her if she was and she said, "No, I'm just trying to make a point." So I let it go. Friends have since pointed out this is an awful thing to say to your partner. A few weeks go by and we're out with some of her friends and I notice she's being very flirty and touchy with one of them and giving them way more attention than she's giving me. When we go back to her place, I ask if she's attracted to this friend. She admits she is, but tells me I don't have anything to worry about. I tell her that's fine then and thank her for telling me. She seems surprised I'm not jealous, but I assure her that we've been together for years now and crushes on other people are normal. What's important is that we choose to be with each other. Another week goes by and this friend wants to take her to a museum. I ask her if I can come and she gets shifty and doesn't want me to. When I ask her why, she says, "Because I want to see what the vibes are like." Record scratch. Excuse me. So I calmly tell her you don't see what the vibes are like when you're in a committed relationship. She couldn't give me an explanation as to why she didn't want me to come, so I told her I wasn't comfortable with this. "If you tell me I can't do something that just makes me want to do it more," she says. To which I reply, "I didn't say you can't do it, I just said I'm not comfortable with it." Oh, she doesn't know how to respond to that. I take my dog for a walk so I can take a breather and talk to her calmly about this when I return. I ask her if she can please explain to me what is going on and if I have anything to worry about. After thinking for a while, she starts to cry and tells me she just wanted to make sure she wasn't attracted to this person because her mom has cheated on or left everyone she's ever been with and she wanted to make sure she wasn't going to turn out like her mom or something like that. I honestly can't fully recall her reasoning, but like I said, I trusted her. I loved her, she seemed to be so in love with me, and at the time it made sense. So I told her I was cool with it and I meant it. I thought she would never do anything to hurt me and I didn't want to introduce distrust into the relationship. Cut to 2 weeks later. She tells me she's having doubts about our relationship due to how much I've been working and the stress I've been under and is afraid it's only going to get worse. I tell her this is something we can work through. She asks for a couple days of space to clear her head and talk to her therapist. I tell her that's fine and we agree to talk after she speaks to her therapist. Then 2 days later, I get a text in the middle of the day that we're over and an in-person conversation would only cause us more pain. I'm shocked. I respond that this should not have happened over text, that this is one of the most hurtful things a partner has ever done to me and I never expected it to come from her. I then tell her I used to respect her, but I now think she's a terrible person after doing something this. I am obviously angry but trying to stay measured. I then try calling her to get an explanation and I realize I've been blocked. Cue my stonewalling trigger. That's what I completely fucking lose it. I message her. I email her. I try reaching her through Google Voice numbers. Absolutely nothing. She blocks me on every method I use to reach her. The more I'm ignored, the angrier and also more desperate I get to reach her. I also was rushed to the hospital for emergency surgery less than 12 hours after being broken up with. I had an infection that turned out to be worse than I thought, which only exacerbated my desperation to find out what the fuck was going on. After a day and a half of no sleep and spiraling, I finally fall asleep and wake up much calmer. I send her an apology email for freaking out and ask if we can please talk in person. About a month goes by and she finally gets back to me with an email. No apologies or admissions of any wrongdoing whatsoever. She tells me that she cannot speak to me because she will never unsee the way I reacted to her breakup text, and will no longer respond to any message I send her. Please keep in mind, I never so much as raised my voice at her before she blindsided me. She has cheated on partners before, once in college, which was over 10 years ago, and in her last relationship, which she told me was the day before she ended things with her ex and the relationship was long dead anyway. Also, her mother has broken up 3 or 4 marriages and relationships. I used to not think that necessarily meant she was the same way, but with everything that has happened recently I can't stop thinking about that. And yes, I do feel stupid. Update. I've been snooping the friend's Instagram stories and I can see her shoes, bags, hands and the peripheries of them. This person was a friend of a friend and they rarely hung out before we broke up. Now she's hanging out with them regularly in uptown Manhattan when she lives in Brooklyn. I can't help but think she either fucked this person or wanted to fuck this person and dipped before she did. Explains the abrupt text message ending things too. She was afraid to face me. I know I shouldn't torture myself, but the way she left things makes me desperate for answers that fill in the blanks and help me make sense of everything. I have no idea how someone I was so intimately close to for so long could be so duplicitous and selfish right under my nose. I feel shattered.
OP, When she said that she could be cheating on you and you wouldn't even know, that was a confession. She was already cheating on you, you damn donut. She was just so narcissistic that she was mad at you for not realizing it and chasing her more. Of course you will feel broken. She hurt you and left, but that's not why you feel broken, is it? That's not the real reason. The real reason is because that deep down you already knew it. Deep down, you saw the red flags and you chose to not do anything about it.
Like a little bitch.
Hey, on the bright side, OP, at least you dodged a gold digger. Viewer support is the best way for me to remain independent and continue bringing you these daily videos, which will always be here on my channels for you to watch absolutely free. So please consider subscribing to me on Rumble and on YouTube. Both will be linked in the description box down below. Thanks for listening, everyone. If you even somewhat enjoyed today's story, make sure to give this video a thumbs up, and if you really like it, consider subscribing to PattSun to never miss a future upload. Stay strong.